What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Climb. Me and Gar teaming up this week. I'm your host, X-Ray, joining by Gar. Gar, how are we feeling after we're halfway through the regular season?
I think every team kind of has a fighting chance at the moment. My team obviously needs to have
A
a
miracle
little
run.
bit of discipline in them to attempt to crawl back into playoffs contention.
Yep.
But we'll see how it goes with this upcoming match on the weekend. But it still feels like anyone's game right now.
Yeah, it's surprisingly very, very close in the standings so far. Surprisingly, though, Ellie and her kittens are actually first place right now, sitting at 9 points. Vanguard Elite and X Unit sitting at 8. Catboy and Jers sitting at 7. And then Fraud Watch, I believe, is also sitting at 9. I believe. If I think that's what we were talking about
Yes,
before.
yes.
So and then Gar's third degree class sitting at those is that 2 points right now. So he's gonna have to do a little bit of a climbing.
It's winnable.
It's winnable. It's winnable, as we say. But without further ado, let's talk about this last week's matches, week 5. So we had Gar's third grade class versus Eleanor Kintz, X Unit versus Catboy Enjoyers, and then finally uh, Vanguard Elite versus Fraud Watch 2099. But to start off, we got Gar's third grade class versus Eleanor Kids. Now, um, from the spectator point of view that I saw, so game one, very, very interesting draft coming out for Gar's third grade class. I think it was interesting, but not too bad. Cerner, though, got a solo bolo kill on a very difficult matchup, in my opinion. Playing Malphite into the Ornn. In my opinion,
He
it's
did it
Ornn fared.
twice.
Yeah, he did it twice. In my opinion, it's very Ornn favored, but Zerner showed me what? No, it's definitely Malphite favored, and played fairly well into the matchup and got us 2 solo kills. So really good props to him. Different, was just built different this game. If you watch the series, it was dangerous. This his Vayne was no joking, pressing his R button and then diving in the back line as Vayne.
Yeah.
And if Gar's reaction pretty much says it all. Yes, the Vayne was very, very dangerous in this game. Um, and then game was actually a lot closer than a lot of people realized. Gar's team was actually only down by 2K through most of the game until right about at the end when they made that huge jump to like 8K or whatever it was, or 5K I think it was. But honestly, I give props to Zerner. He definitely had a lot of good plays for his team. And then otherwise, nothing really stood out to me in at least game one specifically. I mean, I just like how Zerner played. Really played super well. And yeah, Gar, what are your thoughts on your first game of the series?
All right, I gotta get my glaze through. Zerner is definitely not a gold player with how he outperformed Guildborn that game. No, it was a freaking massacre top lane, and I'm sad that we weren't able to actually capitalize on that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I will say it was a little gruesome to see just tab in, look at bot lane, and see that their different was up 5-0 at like 15 minutes in. I'm just sitting mid lane chilling with Harley out farming him, but it didn't really matter at the end because this Vayne was just gonna walk up and one tap everyone. Which now I know that Vayne in the right hands will comfortably gap a Yunara. So with these
Whatever,
nerfs in
like two
hand,
big counters. Also,
yeah, it's like Yunara gets like mainly countered by like what Vayne of Felios,
yeah,
right?
Bane affiliates.
Yeah, so seeing different whip out the Vayne again, which he played it last week, and I should have taken note about that. Uh, he was just going crazy on it, and by the time I was able to interact with different all, he was just freaking two tapping me. Uh, I gotta say, I'm not too happy about BR continuing the AD Silas propaganda. I think after the bug fix is
Yeah.
just quite weak. But I hope he was having fun with it for the meantime. But I think Eleanor Kins definitely were just trying to backpack on the different really hard, and it worked out in their favor.
Hmm.
Because as you could tell, like 2K goal difference, even after like the catch that we did at their blue buff, like all the gold is basically on Vayne. Once he falls, the rest of the team should crumble.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we just never were able to get any more catches besides that because we were super reliant on either Malphite ulti or Silas catches, and we were just not like coordinated on that.
Yeah. It was a super close. Like even at the blue buff play, I was like, oh wow, they caught the vein. It's a winnable fight. But then I think deglaze for Zerner a little bit. He was basically full health and he was running away from the fight. And you guys definitely could have. He definitely could have kept fighting, I think, and
Yeah,
maybe would have won the fight
yeah.
a little bit harder. But you know, you live and you learn. You can't like read every fight in the moment as well. So otherwise, I think nothing really much else to say about this game specifically. It literally was just the different on Vayne popping off. It played extremely well, so props to him. Moving on to the second game, two very scaling team comps with just on the side of, we have this Sivir versus Jinx and Victor uh, team versus Ellie and Kins, and then foreign guy playing that Sivir, and then very cool combo, of course, or classic combo with the Nocturne Ori. So definitely had some options here in the side of Gar's team. I actually think I like Gar's team a little bit more in draft wise if they could pull like the Ori Nocturne combo off. But unfortunately, they weren't able to pull any of that stuff off. But honestly, the first like early game was pretty much negligent. Nothing too crazy happened. Harley got a couple early kills, so that just accelerated the victor a little bit. But otherwise, nothing too crazy. But the biggest play that I want to talk about, which I think spelled Gar's team's doom, was the double mid towers and then different getting
Oh my
four
god.
kills.
Yeah.
And and not only did different not die, no one else on the team for Ellie and Orkins didn't die, and Gar's team just kind of went in one by one, and it was a little tragic. I won't lie, but uh, nothing really much else to say about the game, in my opinion. Literally, at the next dragon is when the game was finished. It was a clean 5-0 for Ellie and Orkins, and they got the dragon, and I'm pretty sure Gar's team FF'd after that. So, but Gar, let me. What is your point of view of the series, especially since you're not even in the fight? I think you're bot lane or top lane. I can't
I
remember.
was top lane trying to get bounty gold at top tower because I was like, realistically, we shouldn't be doing anything. Like the Rift Herald's mid, obviously we should contest that at the very least, but like
Mm.
everyone else is kind of doing their own thing. Uh, Jinx gets a reset on tower, so while I'm walking tops lane and clearing the wave, I'm just seeing this entire fight play out. I just get like more and more frustrated that things were just going that way. Uh, and then obviously you saw at the end, you were also helping me to cast that game.
Yeah.
Nocturne Ori, I'm not very comfortable with. I'm usually
Oh
fine with
yeah. I
Oriana.
totally
I'm
forgot the Mistori ult.
I'm usually fine with Oriana, like as a champion solo. I'm not used to the Nocturne Oriana combo.
Right.
And I definitely didn't help that I was not as synergized with BR that game at all. So trying to play a very like synergistic team comp with Oriana Nocturne is not exactly ideal when we're not on the same page.
No. No.
So this game or this series in general actually just kind of like showed a lot of the vulnerabilities that we had, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully we're able to fix that. I know we really don't have the schedule to do so, but I am on my hands and knees praying that something happens at the start of the second round
Riot
robin.
Games, please buff my champions, please.
Riot, please ban X-Rays Olaf, disable it for whatever reason.
Disable Olaf, bro. I'm not gonna play Olaf. I'll just play Urgot, man.
Yeah, right, buddy.
Yeah, right, buddy. I mean, if you okay, let's just say in the scenario you give me a free matchup top lane, and I'm like, oh shit, Olaf looks giga awesome here. I'll pick it, but I'm gonna try to stay away from it, um, if necessary. If it looks bad, I'm not gonna pick it. So, but anyways, let's move on to the next series: X Unit versus Catboy and Jurors. And honestly, there's not gonna be much talking about this one because it was literally just a ready diff in both games.
You showed me the
The
screenshots. The gold graph and score lines were very dismal.
yeah. So just to put it in perspective, the score line was 33 to 23 kills. It was a 28 minute game. Riddy is 28 or has 28 KP in the whole game. He went 18 5 and 10 in game 1, playing Mordekaiser. Absolutely turbo stomped. And Shibs also played a fantastic game as well. Got his ASOL, 8 3 and 20, really good. X-Ray played terribly. Played Olaf. He didn't do anything. But GGT and Gamer D both played exceptionally well into probably the toughest bot lane in my opinion. Asteria and Big Dummy. And it's not to say that Catpointers couldn't win the game. It was more of like a lot of people kept getting caught out and not able to play the game correctly, and we just played team fights exceptionally well because it's like if we kill Asteria or Sunny Blues, all their damage pretty much disappears. So
Right.
so we knew really well of how we wanted to play fights, and we played exceptionally well for game 1, and we also triple banned Asteria, so a little cheat code. You banned
That's
Smolder,
crazy.
Samara Jinx. It's like he's not too much you could do, especially since they banned Yunara too. Because we had blue side, so we threatened the Yunara pick as well. So they pretty much have to respect it. And then game 2, pretty similar situation. 28 to 16 for X Unit, and Riddy went 14 3 and 6 on Gwen. So yeah, not a whole lot to say about. Oh, I want to also point. I'm gonna glaze myself a little bit here. I picked Malphite, and they had 4 AD or 3 AD. They picked Urgot.
Does Kai'Sa even count as AD?
She's mixed, I guess, but what I'm saying is in their first 3 picks they picked Kai'Sa, J4, and uh Kai'Sa. So I'm like,
Forgot.
yeah, and then they picked Oriana and Vel'Koz. It's like, okay, immobile individuals. I press the R button, oh, they're dead. So, but yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say about the series, at least from my point of view. Just it was just a ready diff, and cheat code ban Core champs or Asteria's champs, one game. Anything else you want to add, Gar? I know it wasn't streamed, so I don't know how much you can add to it.
I only got 2 things really. I'm curious as to why game 1 they wanted to draft the Poppy. I didn't really see any synergy or counterpick reliance
Mm-hmm.
from that champion. So I don't know if they picked it like R2 or if they threw it in at R3, but I just feel like Poppy looks super homeless this game.
I'm gonna,
Uh,
I'm gonna pull up the draft real quick while he says it
yeah.
because I don't remember.
And then while we're talking about the series, You built full armor still as Malphite. Was that to ego people because you didn't care about the AP damage or what?
Um. Okay, so the thing is I was never really interacting with um Oriana or Vel'Koz, and Oriana was just so far behind when I did start interacting with them. So the only person I really needed to worry about was Big Dummy. So I wasn't worried about the AP damage at all, pretty much.
Oh no, Sonny, you want double book items. Oh.
Yeah. So um yeah, and Poppy went R4, which was interesting. Well, first off, here's what I think blundered. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they blind top into me. They picked Ornn and Urgot, two champions I'm very familiar with and know how to play against. So
Uh-huh.
that's where I think like one of the blunders is like, oh, we're picking Ornn and Urgot. X-Ray's probably two most comfortable champions. He's probably gonna know a matchup or two of how to counter it. But anyways, let's stop glazing me because I could do it all day. But
You're the only glazer of yourself right
I
now.
am. So, um, but anyways, let's move on to our final series: Vanguard Elite versus Fraud Watch 2099. Pretty good series, I would say, in terms of like content wise. So game one, very dominant performance by Fraud Watch. Surprisingly, Blob playing the Morgana jungle with the W buffs. So really good
Mhm.
performance by him. Then I also saw the Silas counter pick into the Malphite, which I'm very curious of why we're picking
Blinding
Malphite.
Malphite,
Yeah,
yeah.
blinding Malphite and then just not planning Silas sort of thing if we're planning on picking Malphite. So that's just my personal opinion, but honestly, just really good team fights by Fraud Watch 2099, which let them win the game. Blob was making some excellent ganks. He went 5-1 in like 19, I think, or something like that. But you know, nothing too crazy standing out. Just really good team fights by Fraud Watch. Um, yeah, Gar, your thoughts?
I probably I don't know why they didn't just ban Silas. I guess they assumed that there was no universe that Gumby would be playing Silas top, and they knew that Gix doesn't really play Silas, so they were kind of banking on that for the free Malphite pick.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Malphite looks really homeless there when the just taking a look at the draft, like Fraud Watch drafted Aphelios, Morgana R1, R2, and then Karma R3. I feel like Malphite doesn't really have a place there outside of sort of the same situation you did for your game, where Malphite has three very immobile targets.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's just you've seen the Vanderbilt video. Freaking the top
Yeah.
five worst win rates is Malphite and the Silas in every single lane.
Yeah. Well,
So
here's the other thing is like I think Malphite can be like a good pick in situations, but it also depends on uh for specific like 1v1. Well, secondly, I just realized this guy took grass, but that is incorrect. You should never go grass, especially into Silas, because you're not gonna get a whole lot of value out of it, right? So,
yeah.
um, but it's like I think Silas, because I have picked Silas into really shitty matchups because the pick is just look turbo good. Like I'm playing into 4 melee, and I have now in lane I have to play against Mordekaiser, so it sucks, for the laning phase. But once I get out of laning phase, I'm all of a sudden like a turbo fed god
I didn't
situation.
know you played Silas either.
I have played Silas as well. So,
Wow.
um, but honestly, otherwise, like the rest of lanes, I think Bouncy had some really good plays, but Blob just I think popped off this game with just some really good ults. His bindings were on point. I think he hit a bunch of bindings in a row and then just never missed any. And if he did miss
Yeah,
them, it was like millimeters.
negligible.
So,
So the play that I really want to highlight is the Otacon play.
uh-huh.
It looks super doomed. They catch out Baratel jumping onto Blob, I believe, and then they also kill Gix. And so it's Heiko alive sitting in Tribush. Gumby TPs into the blue side Tribush, and they 2v4 their team.
Yeah.
It was so perfectly executed. I just want to like glaze that really quickly. I
Yeah.
think that was
No.
probably like
Yeah.
the best play of the series there.
Yeah, for the side of Fraud Watch for sure. But if we
Well,
look at
yeah, at
like
least
the
there's
other
side of
side,
Fraud Watch.
I think Vanguard Elite, looking at these next two games, played. I don't know what happened in game one and then going into game two and three. Um, I don't know what Fraud Watch like really thought with some of these drafts. So just going off of that, in game two, here's my biggest concern with game two specifically. Fraud Watch, I think, solo lost them this game in draft. Like, it's not even close. And Gar, you can take. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, on the draft specifically, because in my opinion, I just think the game is just like you can't win this game with the way Fraud Watch draft. I think so. You pick Hui, Vayne, Kale, and Yumi, and they're all on the same team. And then your only frontline is Trundle. Now, if you look at the other team, it's I believe Shen, Xin Braum, Aurora, and Sivir. So it's like, okay, Trundle can ult one of the three or two and a half tanks, right? So you can blow one person up, but then after that one person's blown up, now Blob doesn't have any of those stats anymore, and he's gonna die extremely quick because he's not gonna build full tank.
Yep.
So my and yeah, literally that's all I really have because the game was not like close at all. It was. Hang on, I'm gonna look at the score one more time. Yeah, 24-7, like not close at all. And a lot in early games specifically, Bouncy did an excellent job, counter jungling Blob really effectively. Like Blob did not have a home for the first 5-10 minutes. So, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And shout out to Tubby for getting a quadra kill. The dragon fight was very very good for them because, like I said,
Yep.
they Fraud Watch pretty much all stood up on top of each other. Tubby ults and kills 3 of them with just the QE combo. So, but yeah, Gar, I want to hear your thoughts on this disaster of game 2.
Super quickly, I think Vanguard Elite's comp is way easier to perform. Obviously you heard it from Peak last when we casted. Usually the team with the easier comp to pull off is more likely to win in these like mixed elo leagues. And that's kind of proven itself again. I think Fraud Watch made it. I don't think it's an impossible team. Don't get me wrong.
No.
But they are heavily relying on the fact that they're going to be able to survive early game and let Scale and Vayne scale late, and that's just not happening with how that played. This was also kind of the game that set the precedent of grubs or bait, because in this game and in the next game, Fraud Watch start grubs and they end up dying over it.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And this just puts Blobs behind, and then Blob is basically homeless, as you said. Jinzhao is making plays against the map, like, through all points in the game. And you mentioned the, 24-7 scoreline. Half of those 7 kills were made from one play, and then just nothing else happened.
Yeah.
So, it was just super difficult. Aurora is also a really dumb champion. I wish Tubby had time to freaking tell me how to play that champion, because I feel like Aurora's crazy. But no, it's just a super difficult comp for Fraud Wash to play that out.
Yeah, like I think my biggest pet peeve is like I think we picked Jimmy in second round. I think it was like R4 or something like that.
No, we did Vayne Yumi R1 R2.
Okay, so I thought it was Trundle first. Maybe not.
Nope.
Okay, so yeah, I think honestly, even like Gix going on Galio, I think would have been make the team so much better. I think the Gumby Kale is okay. I think it's fine, but as soon as we pick Hui, I think it's a little cooked, especially the comp we're drafting right now. So
Yeah.
but anyways, let's move on to our game 3. Very interesting pick for Gix in game 3. We playing a Bessa mid, which is a very unique pick that I was not expecting for Gix to pull out. Very surprised by the
I
pick.
respect that.
It was very interesting for sure. And then really big shout out to Vegan getting a solo bolo on Gumby. We didn't get to see it because we were watching Blob's point of view, but Gumby was taken aback. Vegan saw an opportunity, rushed Gumby, and was able to kill Gumby right before he got under his tower. So really big shout out to Vegan. Being the worst top laner in my opinion this season, getting a solo kill on Gumby is pretty impressive and definitely boost up your stocks for sure. At least in my book, being a fellow weak side top laner. But honestly, Vanguard Elite just had a really good early lead. But Fraudwatch found a couple good plays with Fiddlesticks R, but ultimately just had a lot of bad team fights in the early game. Specifically, one that comes to mind is they did a bot tower dive and they lost 4-0, and I think that was like the starting point of the downhill spiral of Fraudwatch for game 3 specifically. But yeah, they just found a couple more good plays after that. But ultimately just weren't able to bring it back and take the win. And Vanguard Elite just showed up for game 2 and 3. And yeah, sending you, Gar.
Yeah, I think Vanguard Elite definitely looked a lot more cohesive with each other as the series developed, and it really showed, while Fraud Watch kind of looked like they were falling apart with the picks that they wanted to play. I saw the vision of what they were trying to do. They wanted to play for like a half team fight, half pick comp. Because you have Fiddlesticks and Mumu together, and Varus, all very good at catching opponents out, while the Ambessa and Camille are there to dive any backline that they have. But I will say about the Ambessa pick, it's usually something that you want to play into immobile mage mids. So something akin to like Lux, Victor, Xerath is a really good one. Something that doesn't have a easy time landing abilities on Ambessa. But Ari, after level 6, she is not a mage anymore. She's like a very mobile assassin, especially in Malignant. So it just makes it super difficult to Gix to play out how the Ambessa wants to do this game. There was also a top fight pretty early that was pretty unlucky. Blob tried to flash onto the TPing Ari for the fear, but she was able to buffer her ulti throughout every single point of CC, so that her first Spirit Rush, she buffered the fear, and then second one dodged the ulti. The third one literally went in as she got silenced. So a lot of sums were burnt off, and Blob is basically sumless for the rest of like early game. It's super unfortunate. Also, I don't know what steroids are in Fiora, but like TLV on Fiora looks so much better compared to any other champion that she plays. I don't know if it's a comfort thing or if like something in Fiora just unlocks something. Like obviously there's still some tendencies you see from like a silver player, maybe like some missed skill shots or positioning, but like she looked way better on Fiora than any tank that she's played recently.
I think honestly, well, I think latest vegan isn't aren't they they're not a traditional top laner though, right? I'm pretty sure.
I thought they were.
Maybe they are. Um,
If
well,
they aren't, then I'm schizo.
I think. I think the other thing is, last time I checked, I believe they were like a 4-1 trick as well. So
Uh,
I could be,
that'll do it.
I could be smoking some of that good stuff though. But I think with that, you just want to do some quick predictions for this up and coming week, there, Gar. We'll call it a day.
Uh, Gar 2-1 against X Unit,
Two
totally.
two one. I think you
2-1.
mean 2-0 X unit. Okay, let's
Hey,
skip our series because we both are biased. But we got Fraud Watch versus Catboy Enjoyers. So last time they met, Fraud Watch did take a game off of them. So it was 1-2, or Catboy Enjoyers versus Fraud Watch. Honestly, I think it's going to be a very similar scoreline. I think it's going to be 1-2. But I'm gonna give it to Fraud Watch this next week.
really?
I think they're on a heater. I think they're gonna be on a heater this second half. So I'm gonna give it to Fraud Watch.
All right. Uh, I will say the first week that they did it, they also had Pyrosis sub for Fraud Watch. Or not for Fraud Watch, for Catboy Enjoyers.
Okay, Han, that changes it now.
So,
Oh wait, do they have Gumby? I don't think they had Gumby.
they had
That's
Gumby.
why. Oh, they had Gumby.
Yeah,
Oh, my thing's not loading.
that's okay. Point is,
Interesting.
if Catboy Enjoyers were able to keep their momentum going, obviously they didn't.
Oh, that's right.
They didn't win against you guys because jungle is very abusable. I feel like Ty is cool should be able to neutralize himself a bit better into
Oh,
blah
that's
blah fish.
right. Okay. They didn't have D.
Uh,
That's right. Okay.
and then Seeker, uh, should be able to last long enough in the Gumby. It's obvious he's obviously going to get abused and used like over and over again top lane. It's not going to be close. But I think he should be able to last long enough where it's kind of the same repetitive story where Gumby isn't able to like solo carry a game.
Yeah.
But I think the Heiko versus Saria matchup's also just going to be fun to watch. I'm not exactly sure who's going to take the
Yeah, I
advantage here,
totally
but
forgot Pyrosis subbed in for Cap Rangers. I'm gonna change my vote. I'm gonna go Cap Rangers 2-1 because
wow.
like I said in the power rankings, I think if they have Dean, it's a totally different team, in my opinion. So,
Okay.
and then finally the last series, Alien Hurricanes versus Vanguard Elite. So Vanguard Elite last time 2-0'd Alien Hurricanes, but I think different's just gonna be built different. I think I'm gonna go with Alien Hurricanes. I'm gonna say 2-1 though.
Ooh, okay. So these two teams are very similar because they're playing for a very obvious bot lane focus. It's really different versus Psy. Uh I would expect that Tubby is going to be able to win over Harley because
Oh yeah.
not to float my own boat, but if I can do very well in lane over Harley, I'm sure Tubby can do even better. Uh so I think Tubby should be able to translate a lead into that and help different or no, not help different, help Psy out. But a lot of Psy's champions, or at least specifically Unara, got nerfed. And I feel like different has a much stronger pool in this current bot lane meta. We'll
Yeah.
see kind of where Senna and Smolder sit right now, but uh I feel like different will definitely have a stronger advantage bot lane. We kind of just have to see what happens there, and it also really depends on how much jungle pressure is gonna happen between Leuton versus God, who's their jungler again?
Um. Uh.
Ty's cool.
No, it's that's
No,
Catboy Insurers. It's Bouncy. I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Bouncy's typically going for like engaged
Yeah, it's
junglers. He's
bouncy.
got the Shinzao, he's got the J4, he's got the Nautilus. Like, I feel like he should be able to make a lot of plays frequently bot lane. So I think this is gonna be a 2-1 series. I'm gonna put my eggs in Vanguard Elite's basket this time around, but I think this should be a fun series to watch regardless.
I think also just Alien are honestly just starting to figure how they want to play these games. So that's kind of like my opinion of like they're gonna continue figuring it out this next these next 5 weeks and be able to take it over and make a name for themselves coming into these playoffs. So but with that, that is all the time and all that we got for you this week here on The Climb. Thank you all for watching. I am your host, X Ray, joined by Gar, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye. Gar's got